Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! I, 46 female, am the mother of a 24-year-old woman from my first marriage, and 12 and 10 years old boys from my second marriage. When I was married to my first husband, he was unemployed for almost all of our marriage. We lived in a house his father owned. His father paid our bills and he bought us a car we drove. He sent my husband money to take care of our family, and so on. I was young, stupid, and in love. That is my only excuse for living like that. When my daughter turned 5, I started pushing my husband to work. I myself got a job. He didn't want to. Things escalated and ended up in us getting divorced. He got full custody, while I got visitations every other Saturday. His dad hired a good lawyer and I couldn't do that. I also had to pay child support. I used to work a full-time and 2 part-time jobs to afford my 1-bedroom apartment as well as the child support payments. A year after our divorce, my ex married a new woman. There was a lot of child alienation from them, and sadly I couldn't afford to take them to court again. By the time my daughter turned 14, she was calling me by name and calling her stepmom Mom. I tried my best to hold on to my kid and I went to all the events I could go to. I planned fun days with the limited funds I had. Even when I couldn't afford to turn on the heat, I still made sure to get her a Christmas gift. Sadly, by the time she turned 16, she no longer wanted to have anything to do with me. I took them to court, but they did nothing. And the last time I saw her, she said some very awful things to me. I was defeated. But I decided that I no longer had a daughter, since that is literally what she wanted. I moved away, met a good man, married him, and had 2 wonderful kids. Last year, my daughter reached out. She was sorry. She said that she wanted to reconnect. I was hesitant and resentful, but I still talk with her once a week. Suddenly, she asked if she could spend Christmas with us. She wanted to get to know her brothers. I told her that we were not in a stage where I could allow that. It got heated, but I told her that I could not trust her with my kids yet, and that I was still not 100% sure that I wanted our relationship to become more. She says that I am a jerk, that I am punishing her for things she had no control over, that I know what she told me and how she reacted to me was a direct result of her father's manipulation. So, am I in the wrong here? Edit. Since a nice Redditor brought it to my attention my kids are adopted. She is my only biological kid. I am just used to saying that I had kids. They are technically my late sister-in-law's children, but I raised them these last 7 years. And now for some comments. You are in the wrong. Quote, I was young, stupid, and in love. This is my only excuse for living like this. Your daughter was also young and surrounded by manipulative people who turned her against you. You were able to snap out of it and work hard to make a life for yourself. Your daughter, who hurt your feelings when she was literally a child, seems to have snapped out of it as well. But you offer her no grace. This is just sad for both of you. Your daughter is an adult now and is trying to connect with you. Please do not throw that away. The real jerks here are your ex, the stepmom, and the grandfather. I am empathetic, but OP is right to not rush this. In general, a major family event/holiday is not the appropriate place to reconcile with an estranged family member. That comes after the reconciliation. It is obvious when family members pressure a bride or groom to let their estranged parents come to the wedding because that could be what fixes years of trauma and a broken trust, apparently suddenly and without effort. That's not how things work. Does OP know what caused this change of heart? What opened her eyes to the years of lies and manipulation? Why now? Can she trust her own daughter not to basically relapse and hurt not only OP but her other kids too? I don't think she can just yet. Unless there is something missing here, it's rather dumb and selfish to think that the daughter can just say sorry and go to family Christmas after years of trauma. Just because OP was a parent doesn't mean she needs to bury her own trauma for the sake of her adult kid. I empathize with the daughter. But just because she was manipulated didn't mean she suddenly suffers no consequences of her own actions. That continued until just now. No one is in the wrong here. You aren't going to get over it all immediately. I can see the reluctance to go too fast and get your heart broken again. But I can also see how she wants to make up for all the years she missed and doesn't want to miss anymore. Keep in mind that her other alternatives may be spending Christmas alone or stuck having Christmas with the man who cost her her mother. I throw a pretty big Christmas party every year going on a decade now. A few years ago at one I threw, my friend Tara met my former co-worker Tony and they hit it off. They dated for a while and 2 years later, once again at my Christmas party, they showed up with a ring on her finger and they announced for the first time that they were engaged. I was super happy for them. They got married this spring and we didn't get invited. When I was sending around my party invitations this year, I didn't see any reason to invite them back if they didn't think I wasn't worthy of making their guest list. I have known them pose for years, basically introduced them, and they literally announced their engagement at my home. It got back to me today that they are very upset with us for not inviting them this year, that my party is something they consider special and they think I'm being pretty. A couple friends mentioned it was a smaller wedding and they feel like I'm just punishing them. It wasn't though. There were probably 200 people there and I knew at least 50 of them, and I was a little surprised at some of the names that made the cut over us. I didn't make a stink about it or anything, but I don't see why I should welcome them into my home again after being snubbed like that. My partner thinks I should just let it go and invite them back, but I don't see a reason why I should. Am I in the wrong here? And now for some comments. You are not in the wrong if they can't even invite the person who introduced them to their wedding, then I don't think they should expect an invitation to your Christmas party. If you're not close enough to make it to the wedding invite list, why should they be close enough to you to make it to your Christmas party? You are not in the wrong. Normally, I'd say that they can invite or not invite whoever they want to their wedding, but by that same logic, you can invite whoever you want to your party. You're upset they didn't invite you, and they are upset you didn't invite them. The difference is that they are using your Christmas party as a celebration of the relationship. They feel entitled to your Christmas party because it's important to the relationship, but they don't view you as important. They will keep using your party to announce life events because they feel entitled to your party as a celebration of them. 200 people is not a small wedding, but if they think it is, you have 2 new friends you've invited and you just couldn't fit them in too. So sorry darlings, it's just a small party, you understand, right? You're not in the wrong, but I think I know what's happened. When someone holds a big party like yours, especially if it becomes a tradition, it is easy for people to stop seeing it like you having your friends over for a party and start seeing you like an official organizer for a community event. Of course, if you actually talked about it that way, people would realize they are wrong. But it's trickier when it's subconscious. When they invite people to their wedding, they feel like it's their event. Of course, it's still rude of them to not invite you, but it's not your right to come. But when you don't invite them, it's more like being disinvited from a community party that they have a more impersonal right to attend. They have stopped seeing you as a friend and started seeing you as an organizer, and your party is some sort of a common good. Of course, this is a possible explanation, not an excuse at all. I just think it's fascinating when this sort of thing happens. So me and my girlfriend have been dating for almost a year now. I love her. She's the first person that I have truly been happy with. I also have a motorcycle and she hates it. She says that it's dangerous, which it is. She was asking me to sell it for a while, but I never will. That bike was my dad's. He loved it. When he died, he wanted me to have it because he knew that if it went to anyone else, they would sell it. That bike is priceless to me. I explicitly told my girlfriend that I will never get rid of it. She said that she understood, but when I get home my bike is outside and has a huge for sale sign on it. I immediately confronted her. She said that she was doing it because she loved me and didn't want me to die on it. I told her that she can get out of my house. I was so pissed. She keeps texting me saying that I overreacted and that it wasn't a big deal. She tried to sell my property without my knowledge. She knew how much that bike meant to me and she still did it. So, am I in the wrong here? And now for some comments. You're not in the wrong. She tried to sell something that wasn't just a bike but a pass down from your dad. You made the right call. You explained what it meant to you and she still tried to sell it anyway. Screw her. You're not in the wrong. It was a huge deal. You are not in the wrong. Yes, she posted your property for sale. Something priceless to you connected to your dad. She may not be the person you can trust to spend your life with. Best to you. You are not in the wrong. First of all, it isn't okay to sell a stranger's belongings, let alone someone you've been dating. I wouldn't want to have someone willing to get rid of my sentimental belongings living in my house either. It's a breach of trust. Not to mention, it is not her call on what you can and cannot do because she doesn't like it when it comes to something she had to have been aware of prior to this point in your relationship. I, 27 female, have a brother, James, 29 male, who is married to Emma, 26 female, and they have a kid named Josh, 6 male. I also have other nephew from my sister in her 20s but was not involved. His name is Danny and he's 7. I am very close to Danny and I see him every Wednesday. As I have Wednesdays off and his parents work, it is a great opportunity for quality time. Every Wednesday I take him to a small local waffle place for lunch. Recently, James and Emma asked if I would mind watching Josh when I had Danny on Wednesday. I said sure. This was about a week ago when they asked and I am meant to have them both the next Wednesday after Christmas. Well, yesterday I had a text from Emma, just saying thanks for offering to watch Josh, but then she went on to let me know that she was going to prepare a packed lunch for Josh. I said that would not be needed, as I take Danny out for waffles on Wednesday for lunch and we would all eat there. She asked me to send her the menu and I did. She said she did not feel comfortable with Josh eating there as the food there was very unhealthy and she did not see any options she would be okay with Josh eating. She said that she would send a healthy packed lunch for Josh to eat while me and Danny ate the food from the restaurant. I explained that I was sorry but no. I was not okay with that as I thought it would be unfair on Josh to watch his older cousin eating lots of nicer food while Danny had to have a packed lunch. And that I also did not think it would be fair to cancel our normal plans. Emma told me to stop being rude about her food and that it was not her fault or myself, and that Danny's parents allowed him to eat unhealthy food. James also got involved saying I already agreed and I should respect his wife's wishes. I said I was sorry but I can either watch Josh and take him to have a nice lunch with his cousin or I would not take him at all. Just to confirm, there is no medical reason for Josh's diet. Emma is very serious about health and fitness and at family events she is normally very strict about what she will eat and allow Josh to eat. I have also seen her be quite controlling about James' diet, but I assumed she would make an exception her son to have one meal with his cousin. But maybe I am being too judgmental. I just feel these rules are unreasonable and pretty harsh, and I do not want to enforce them. So, am I in the wrong here? And now for some comments. You are not in the wrong. Having a child watch you both eating at the restaurant is ridiculous. You are not in the wrong. First, you're absolutely right that you can treat one child and not the other. That's a recipe for all kinds of resentment. Second, you're entitled to stick to your plans. If Emma doesn't want her kid participating in those plans, she's essentially forced your hand. You simply can't take Josh. I am going to say you're not in the wrong. Yes, sure, she can decide what he eats as his parents, but she is going to give that boy an eating disorder or something. I have personal experience with people like her. My mother is a nutritionist and gave me a lot of shame and baggage about food to deal with, and I have encountered so many of these crunchy, whatever that means. I see it used on Facebook, fitness moms who are obsessed with not feeding their children bad foods. It's like how to give your child trauma around food and their body 101. You're not in the wrong. If I'm understanding correctly, she was asking that you bring along outside food to the restaurant for Josh, which a lot of places wouldn't even allow. If she doesn't want her son to even have one less healthy meal a week, that is her call. But then she should have just accepted that the arrangement wasn't going to work out rather than demanding you make unreasonable accommodations. I will be short here. My husband of 12 years is a recovered opiates addict. He got into a major car wreck. They had painkillers and he got addicted. He has now been 7 years clean and doing fantastic. But there was a 2-year period there where he lost who he was entirely just about and burnt a lot of bridges that he's still trying to mend. I think it may be important to note that he also has an addictive personality. I had to go in for an emergency surgery 4 days ago and was given painkillers. I was only given 10 total. Loose dose. Because I'm not used to them, never taken them before, it is hard enough trying to get me to take Tylenol. So I did fill the script, but I hadn't taken them. Well, this morning my pain was severe and Tylenol was not touching it. When I originally filled the script, my husband was very much so in a "I don't think you should take them, we should get your med card instead" type of headspace. But I admittedly pushed it off entirely because at that point, I wasn't in too much pain considering. It's the healing process that is making it painful. The wound healing and then tearing open due to the location and packing of the wound. Anyways, I went to take a painkiller this morning and my husband immediately got tense. Again, started saying not to take them and that he wasn't comfortable with me taking them, and again stated that I should just smoke pot instead. Given that I was in so much pain at that point because my wound had torn while I was in my sleep and I was currently bleeding, which doctors said would happen, I snapped a little and said, "I am not you, okay? I get that you became addicted, but I am not you." He looked completely wrecked, and I did feel bad. He just walked off and left, and he currently isn't speaking to me. Am I in the wrong here? And now for some comments. You are not in the wrong. Pain makes everything worse. You're not him. If he was an alcoholic, would you not be allowed to have a drink? This isn't about him. It's about your needs. You're in pain. You're taking something you need. I get it makes him uncomfortable because of his addiction and trauma and past, but that doesn't mean you don't get to take what you need. I'd lock them in a safe he doesn't have access to and not let them see you take them. No one is in the wrong here. He isn't coming from a malicious place, even though he's 100% projecting his experience onto you. With painkillers, addiction is a legitimate concern. But it sounds like you're simply using them when you absolutely cannot stand the pain otherwise. You are also not in the wrong because you explained your position calmly lots of times. You lost your patience this one time, which is understandable. I hope he heard you this time. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.